is that? It's surprisingly comfortable for a $220 couch.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not
Yeah.
bad. So, is that fan good?
Yeah, that's
It gets a little stuffy in here. There's no ventilation.
Yeah.
And then I get windy, and then I get winded.
Yeah. No, this is perfect.
All right. Cool. All right, guys. So welcome to Strengthcast episode 17, I believe. I'm getting mixed up because Seth and I filmed a podcast on Wednesday, and it was actually episode 18 because I want to release this before that.
I see.
So
I'm better than that other guest.
Seth?
No, whoever you had on 17. Or was that just you two?
You are 17.
Oh, wait, who's 18 then?
See? Already getting mixed up.
Yeah.
18 was just a morning coffee episode.
Look at this guy.
Yeah. And then the dogs went in. That TV gets really distracting. So, yeah, our morning coffee episode, we try to record every Wednesday and then release the following Wednesday.
Okay.
And then, so they're like a week behind.
Gotcha.
So, I want to try to get yours released earlier than Wednesday, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it guarantees because, stuff can happen. But, so we got a very special guest today. Nolan Meyer is back. Is on the podcast. I guess I'll let you explain what your plans are and stuff. So Nolan has been coming to the gym off and on since high school.
Yeah.
A lot of you guys will probably already know that Nolan was an employee here for a couple of years as a personal trainer, and then got the itch to move away and leave us with a big void for a while. And yeah, so he's back. So, Nolan, I'll let you introduce yourself, like your past, your history. Just tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So like you said, I think it was like junior year of high school or something around that time when I started coming to Iowa Strength. But originally from like Winthrop area, Kewaskum area, went to East Buchanan. Started lifting here just because we would always go to Jessup Gym, and then like as soon as we heard that there was a similar like kind of vibe of a gym in Independence, all my friends were like, "Well, let's go there. Like it's just that much closer," and then just absolutely fell in love with the place. This is like ideal atmosphere. Obviously, I've told you that many times, but yeah. And then graduated high school. And then I think that was like kind of the first summer when I started coming here like multiple days a week. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just loved the gym. Was already going to school for personal training at the time, so was kind of looking to get some experience with that. And that's kind of what led me to working here. You offered me the position, which was a great opportunity, and that was definitely a good spot for me to be in right out of college, because I think being comfortable with the gym that you're at is like really important going into personal training. So it was nice because I kind of already knew a lot of people in the community here.
Rapport.
Yeah, despite not being from Independence, it's like people are just insanely friendly here. So just obviously there's a lot of people I knew, there's people that come in from East Buchanan or the Winthrop area, but it's just nice, like everybody else is very welcoming. So that was good to kind of get my feet wet in the personal training business. And then I was looking to kind of do that full time. When I was doing it here, I was honestly like kind of surprised at the amount of clients we ended up being able to get, but like maintaining that was like I was very lucky to have like a really good group of clients.
I mean, there's some weeks where you're getting like 20 to 30 hours.
Yeah. Which honestly, like, all things considered, like having had the experience I have, like in like a major city as well, like it's pretty insane considering Independence is 6,000 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like a great opportunity for me. And then I wanted to do it full time, which kind of led me to looking at bigger cities. And I was kind of looking for a little bit of an adventure at that point anyways, kind of always planned on moving out of state. But yeah, that was kind of the catalyst for that, wanting wanted to go somewhere where I felt like I could do it full time. I also kind of knew going into it, and I was right. Denver's like extremely like active minded. Everybody's constantly like doing physical activity outside, whether it's like skiing or hiking or whatever it might be. So that was like kind of perfect for my situation, because I think it was like within 2 or 3 weeks there, I was like pretty much up to full time like personal training, which was very nice, because kind of going out on a limb, moving to a new city, you don't know, like, am I gonna be able to like pay rent here? Like, it also, Denver's like, depending on where you look, it's in the top 5 or like I think top 7 like most expensive cities in the U.S. So it's like, you really want to make sure that you're able to pay rent. So yeah, but moved out there, great experience out there. Best decision I ever made. Met a lot of cool people. Got a lot of new perspectives. And yeah, now we're back.
Yeah, cool. So tell me about, and I don't want to make this all about like the gym and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sure I probably asked you, but I don't remember. Tell me about your first, if you remember your first experience here when you came into the gym.
Yeah, so...
Because, not to cut you off,
Oh,
like,
you're good.
Nolan, so he went to school for exercise science and personal training at UNI. So he would come back on breaks, holidays, during the summers. And so we built that rapport and that relationship. So I knew who he was. I feel like we hit it off right away.
Yeah.
And just like, you just have that personality that, like, I feel like attracts a lot of people. You're
I appreciate
a
that.
very kind, likable person. You're relatable, and you just have a good personality. So I felt like you're pretty chill and stuff. So, like, tell me about your first experience here, or maybe like one of your first experiences here coming into the gym.
Yeah, so I think the first ever time I came in, I might have been a sophomore, and I kind of came in with another... You'll be like super thrilled about this. I kind of came in with another group of guys and was like, I don't know if you guys were staffed at the moment.
No, we didn't, during that time frame, we didn't have consistent staffed hours.
Yeah, so I like dropped money in like what I thought was the right box, and like was just hoping not to get in trouble. But it was kind of crazy, because like I said, I'd been to Jessup Gym quite a bit at that point, and I loved Jessup Gym because Rex is the best, but also like they just had so much more equipment than what my high school had. Mm-hmm. But coming here, it was like you kind of got that same thing, but there was a little bit more like kind of, I don't want to say that I felt like there was a lot of personality in the gym. Not to say that there wasn't at Jessup, but like it was very unique with the type of equipment you guys had, and Jessup seemed very like kind of clean and like I don't want to say I don't know what word to use. I don't want to say basic, but like they were very kind of a well lit area, very very tight gym. And then like coming here, it was like I felt like the atmosphere was a little bit more, I don't want to say grunge, but like it was like kind of put your head down and work.
So one thing I'll say is I feel like the way Rex conducts himself and conducted business, it was very, very professional. And I'm not saying, and I don't want to say I'm not professional, we're not professional here. I just think our approach is just slightly different, and there's nothing wrong with either approach.
Yeah.
But Rex, man, like I can't say enough good things about Rex and
the
Gene.
Best.
And they're just so kind-hearted souls, and so meticulous with like the cleanliness and like the atmosphere, and like we are too. And I honestly, I feel like I kind of learned that from them, from going to Jessup Gym as well, like prior to owning this, and looking up to them. I feel like for us, we're maybe a little bit like not, and they weren't uptight by any means. I just feel like it took me a long time with the gym to really kind of figure out what direction or where we want to go with this, if that makes sense. Like to find our own. Where I feel like they probably adopted that a lot earlier, were able to figure out a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we were definitely, I wouldn't say a dirty gym, but I feel like it was just one of those gyms, like we had chalk, we had deadlift platforms, and they had deadlift platforms later on as well. We, like, ours was a little bit more geared probably towards like more specific types of training, like in the early days of like powerlifting, bodybuilding, strongman, where Jessup Gym was like a great general gym that like amazing equipment, beautiful facility, and I feel like theirs was a little bit more friendly at that time for different types of people.
Sure.
Like where ours, especially when you started coming, was a lot less machines and a lot more free weights.
Right.
And so it was just it had a different feel. And like the buildings that we've been in have been like either old storefronts that when we were downtown, or here where it's just more that warehouse style gym where theirs is a lot more polished looking, and whatnot, and our lighting is a little bit dimmer, a little bit darker, and we have some dark spots and stuff, and people like that for the social media content and whatever. But
yeah, maybe just off first impression, that was like the main thing of like the warehouse, like kind of almost dungeony look, but yeah, is I'm kind of struggling to find the words because I don't want to say like they were like a box commercial gym, because
no.
I kind of think of that as like an insult, just because it almost has no personality.
I feel like there never will be a replacement for just
no, they were the best, but it was definitely just different in contrast to Iowa Strength, especially back then. Just immediately off the field. But the second time I came, I think, so the first time I actually found out about you guys, me and Adam Rineker were just walking down Main Street, and he was like, "This is the gym I go to," and that was when you guys were at the other location.
What?
Yeah,
you go there.
Yeah, but yeah, then I came here that one time, and then I think the second time I actually like lifted in the gym, it was a similar situation where it wasn't staffed at the time, and there was people in the gym, but I think I was the only one in that what is now like the middle room. And I was like, I think I was doing incline. No, it wouldn't have been. I think it was just flat chest press, and I failed. But I had clips on there, and so I had to like shimmy my way off. You know how that goes. Like everyone's
drop
done
it down
that.
and roll it
and
off.
you just like break half your ribs as it's going down. Yeah. Well, like I obviously knew you guys had cameras at that point. It was like the second time I came in, I was like, oh man, I hope he doesn't check these things, because I was just so embarrassed. I was like, I gotta unrack this weight and just leave. I gotta get out of here.
That's the thing. We as long as like that stuff happens, as long as you're not like being reckless and just totally bailing. Like I've only had to get after people a couple times for recklessly bailing. Like one was a 675-pound squat where they didn't have safety bars, and they failed and just dumped
all the way to the ground.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And well, it caught one of the accessory pins for a squat rack and just like sheared it off.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so I had to have a conversation with that person. And
no squat safety bars are crazy.
Yeah, let alone for over 600 pounds.
Yeah. Was that bar ruined?
No, the bar was fine. I mean, fortunately, our bars are rated for like 1,000+ pounds.
True.
Most of our bars are rated for 1,000+ pounds. Another situation where I saw one was a little bit more recent, where there's some people in, and I wouldn't have known it except for they left weight out on 3 different areas. So I went back and watched the cameras, and I took a video of one of the guys failing a squat with a spotter, and still they just didn't have safety arms and still dumped the weight, and it went on the ground. But it was only like 185.
Yeah.
But then they just left. They picked the bar up, racked it, and then just walked away from it.
But that was on a squat?
Yeah.
That's a long way down to just slam onto the...
Yeah, so I sent the guy that video, and I'm like, hey, like, if you're going to be doing this, like, use safety arms and put your weights away. Otherwise, I'm going to charge you 50 cents per pound and like, restrict your access until it's paid.
Yeah.
So cool. No, that's a good story. I don't remember hearing the bench failure. Dude, we've all done it. I remember the first time I tried benching one plate. Greg Torges, it was at the Falcon Center, and I was, a couple years out of high school. I was a weakling, and it was a couple years out of high school, and I was lifting by myself that day. Dalton and I usually worked out together, and Greg Torgerson, Mark Torgerson, like my first coach, the guy that got me in bodybuilding. So his older brother I don't know, his brother, I don't know if it's older or younger. Greg was there working out, and he was massive. To me, he's still a big guy, but he was just one of the biggest guys I'd ever seen before in person. Yeah. And like I was like, oh, I have to lift heavy weight. He's in here. I can't look weak. And like he couldn't care less. Greg's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. So I'm like, first time ever putting 45-pound plates on a bar, which seemed like an enormous amount of weight.
Oh, yeah.
It probably weighed about as much as I did at that time. And I go down, and then I go up, and then I'm just doing one of these things.
Oh, yeah.
And the bar tilts, and I didn't have clamps on it.
Oh, shit.
And so I lose a plate, and I was like, oh, no. I lose a plate, and then the other bar just goes. And in the corner of my eye, Greg sees it before it happens. He's sprinting across the gym trying to catch it.
Yep.
Missed it. And I was so embarrassed. And then he just follows up like, hey, like, what kind of music you listen to? It just like completely just changes the subject.
Yeah.
But cool. One thing I failed to do that I like to do with new members, so I'm kind of gonna take a little bit of a pause, but I've got some icebreaker questions I want to ask you.
Okay.
So just off topic, just kind of get to know your personality. I think it's just like a few questions. So, do you prefer ketchup or mustard? Or you can insert a different condiment.
Yeah.
You look like a mayonnaise guy. No?
Take it back. No, I do like mayonnaise. I did the typical didn't like mustard as a kid, then now I'm coming around.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I've liked it for a while now, but like now I'm like, oh, better than ketchup.
Macro friendly.
But yeah, I would say, I mean, I go through a lot of hot sauce.
Okay.
Like hot sauce, little Cholula action. That's probably what I'd put there.
Cool. All right. If you were gonna die tomorrow, what would be your last meal?
I would say I would go with lasagna. Big lasagna guy.
Okay.
With like some sort of garlic bread on the side, and then probably like a light salad. Oh, I'd go salad before that, and honestly, like I would usually go like Caesar salad with like a lasagna. But I'm a big Greek salad guy. You ever mess with Greek salads?
Yes.
So that's like separate, but
just heavy with like the like
mozzarella,
the peppers, and like the sauce, like the vinaigrette kind of sauce.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Yep.
And then I'd have to go cheesecake as like the dessert.
Okay.
You
were quick with that.
Yeah, I'm a big cheesecake guy. Also, like ice cream, just any kind of ice cream, but like cheesecake, I would say number one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I will say, like, probably the best lasagna I've ever had was my wife's.
Yeah.
I kid you not. And I grew up eating lasagna. I've been to some cool, like, Italian restaurants and had some pretty, as the kids say, mid lasagna.
Yep. Does she go Italian sausage in it or just beef?
So she has done Italian sausage. I actually don't like sausage.
Okay.
I don't mind it. Like, I'd say like 75% like beef, 25% Italian sausage. But
sure.
Pork has always kind of messed up my stomach.
Oh, really?
It just makes my stomach churn. Like, doesn't sit well, and so I can't tolerate it. A lot of pork. So I like the spice and the spice of the Italian sausage. I don't like the flavor of pork really. So really, usually we just do beef, except for once in a while.
Yeah.
When she's like, if I'm with her grocery shopping, I'm like, hey, you can get some Italian sausage. She's like, no, you're not gonna like it. And then like she's thoughtful, of course, and like so she usually would go without. But
you like bacon?
No.
Wow.
Hate it.
Wow.
Never like bacon.
That's crazy.
I will do a little bit of bacon, but it has to be cooked just right.
Sure.
I like thick cut peppered bacon specifically.
Sure.
I don't like it super crispy. I like it like crispy on the outside edges and like chewy.
Sure.
So
okay.
Yeah, but I'm not. No, I haven't had bacon in years.
Wow.
Yeah, again, it doesn't agree with me. Like sausage, like patties or like little sausage links. Like I can only eat like two of them, 3 of them, and then I'm just gonna like my stomach is just gonna. Ugh.
Yeah, there's no point then.
So yeah. Are you a morning person or a night person?
Definitely morning.
I can see that.
Yeah.
You did a lot of 5 a.m. training sessions here.
Yeah. And most mornings now I'm up around like 4:15, 4:30.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely morning.
All right. What side of the bed do you sleep on?
Left.
Really? Okay.
Left side. Wait, sorry. If I'm
in the bed.
If I'm in the bed, hold up. If I'm looking at the bed, like this, let's say this is the bed, I'm looking face forward, I would be on the right side.
Okay, so you're on the left side when you're in it.
Yeah, when I'm in it, it's the left.
Okay. Does it depend on where the door is at, or is it always the left side? Like, do you face away or towards the door? Or?
I feel like I'm kind of always left. But maybe if I'm thinking back to like other apartments that I've had where it was, maybe it'd be like further, whatever's further away from the door. Just in case, an intruder comes in.
Stay strapped or get clapped.
That's right.
I think I know the answer to this question. Do you prefer books, movies, or TV shows?
Ooh, that's tough. Damn, that's tough. I would say movies. I mean, I do really enjoy reading, but I would say movies, especially, like, there's a lot of times where I'm just like, I really want to read, especially at the end of the day, but I'll just fall asleep.
Yep.
So now I've actually started reading in the morning. Like, I'll knock out like 10 pages in the morning. Mm-hmm. Because if I read, like, when I'm going, I'll, like, fall asleep with the book in my hand.
Yep.
Because I'm just so tired at the point. But movies, like, I can, like, stay awake for. But so I'd say movies.
Okay. Because I know you, especially with one of your former personal training clients, you developed a huge relationship. I think first off, just because of your shared interests of books.
Yes, for sure.
So what book are you working on right now?
So right now, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but like I'm doing so much studying.
Oh yeah.
That, like
we'll save that.
Yeah, but like my brain is just like it's a lot of content to take in. So like this is what I've been struggling with because like my family we started doing like a book club, and so like I'll have a book that I'm reading with them, and then I have books that I'm studying, and then I have usually try to read a book myself. So and sometimes I'll have one like that I'm listening to. So at any given point in time, I'll have like 3 or 4 books. So I'm just like, so the last book I tried to read, I was just like, I could not like retain any of the information because I just had so much that was already in my head. So I was like, I need something easy. And I found this book in Goodwill.
Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, not quite.
I had to read that in college.
What'd you think of it? Because I haven't read it, but I
had to read it in college.
Okay, so little spark notes.
I don't even know if I did that.
Yeah.
So I really wish now I would have read it. I want to go back and read it.
I've heard
it's like a 1,000-page book.
I know. Well, that's what I was gonna read it. It's on my list. I have like on my notes on my phone. I have like 50 books that I have yet to read. But like that's one of them. But
I think I had it at one point, but I don't know if I have it anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm reading this book that I got at Goodwill. That's, by the way, which is a book hack. Like, buy all your books. It's like $3.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, but it's a lot of like classics. Like, you're not going to find a lot of like brand new books there. But I enjoy reading classics. But I wanted something like easy, so I found this book a while back called Six Glasses, or the World History in 6 Glasses, or something like that. And so it's basically like 6 different beverages that have like changed the world, or they've been drank like in very influential parts of the world. Beer,
wine, milk. Water's got to be one. I would say something from. Yeah, I'm only thinking alcohol, and this is horrible.
Yeah.
I don't. There's got to be something from like Asia, like a sake or like a rice wine or something like that.
Let me give them to you?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I thought milk would be on there too, but I think that might be with water where it's like, it's kind of a given.
Okay.
So it's beer, wine, spirits, so they kind of like jumble it all in together, and then coffee, tea. Coffee and tea you kind of have to do, and then specifically Coca-Cola. So not even like soda, Coca-Cola. So it's very interesting, like in the first chapter they give like an overview of everything, but it's essentially like beer was very influential because it was discovered because this area, like the Fertile Crescent, is in like Mesopotamia. That area is where they first discovered like a ton of fields of wheat, and they're like, oh, this is like a permanent food source for us. Like we can store it for long-term usage,
fermented.
which coincided with society like being less nomadic, because they're like, well, why would we leave if we have stores of food here? So that kind of was the transition between when people started being less nomadic and settling down. And yeah, they literally just like let it sit out too long, and they didn't even have pottery back then, so it was just in like these wicker baskets, and it would get water in there and then ferment, and that's how they discovered beer.
This smells gross. Let's drink it.
Yeah, literally. And they had shit floating in it. Like the early, and it was warm. Like the first like iterations of beer looked nasty and like not even that strong, but like it was enough for them to notice. Like, oh, I feel good when I drink this, and like they would have rations. Like even like down to slaves would be provided like a certain amount of beer per day, because it was also more sanitary than water at that point.
I would say even like wasn't it during like the plague, where beer was very, very common to drink just because it was a more sanitary option.
Yeah, and then so it's just interesting. Like they coincide it with different points of history. Like wine is like kind of the philosophical revolution, because Greeks and Romans were they were trying to kind of escape like barbarism. So they were like, we're more refined than these like barbarians. And then it gets into like spirits and then coffee and tea. The interesting one that I thought, and I haven't read the chapter on it, but they kind of summarized it in the beginning, was Coca-Cola, because it's so specific. I was like, oh, I could see like soda, but Coca-Cola specifically, I guess, was developed in the U.S. and then they would give it to soldiers because it had a lot of sugar and calories and well, originally cocaine. Yeah, and so that was the first like global product, because they would give it to these soldiers in different parts of the world, and then they would want it on demand. So then they would start like manufacturing in these companies, or like distributing it to these countries. And so that was like the first product that went like worldwide, and so that like started opening up these channels for like global trade.
I feel like Coca-Cola was one of the first big brands.
You'd have to say like that's
they really revolutionized a lot of things for business. But
anyways, that's my long tangent about what I'm reading. It's just easy to absorb right now.
Yeah. That's awesome. Last question. So, favorite hobby that is not gym related?
Ooh, favorite hobby. It's not gym related.
I already got it.
You for me or you?
Yeah, for you.
What is it?
It's got to be traveling.
Yeah, I would say that.
Traveling or concerts.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you've traveled for concerts.
Yes, that's fair. That's probably about right.
Cool. All right. I told you I usually typically go into these fairly unplanned, so I'm just kind of going to go off the cuff and wing it.
Yeah.
With most of these questions. You know, we did kind of discuss your background with personal training and things like that. What in the beginning got you interested in like working out, athletics, sports, whatever?
Yeah.
What sparked your interest there?
I mean, I just did like all sports from a young age. Like my parents encouraged that, and then when I was in like maybe 4th or 5th grade, my brother was going to the gym to weightlift a lot, and my dad had encouraged that, and that's when he was kind of starting to get me into it. Because we were very late. I mean, we don't have like a strength and conditioning coach at my high school.
Your high school is very small.
It's very small, and back in the day, we didn't even have like there was no structure to weightlifting. It wasn't like it was demanded or required in any avenue. But my dad kind of saw the writing on the wall with, that being kind of the next step in like competing. Like, it's not even like a secret leg up on the competition. Like, you have to do that just to like compete, because that's the new standard. So he really encouraged me to get into it, and I hated it. I would like, because he would also, they didn't really have a structured program back then, so he would go in and he would help coach kids on technique and stuff, and he printed off a bunch of programs back then. This program called BFS, Bigger, Faster, Stronger, just typical like football program.
Old school.
Yeah, very old school. But he would have to. Still commutes every day to Cedar Rapids to work, so he would have to get in and out of there at a pretty early time to get back home to be able to shower and then go to work in Cedar Rapids. So that meant like I was I was riding with him, so I would just go there at like, it was like 4:30 every morning. And it was just like, I hate this. I was naturally like very skinny, not very strong at all. But then like, you do it for a while, you start seeing progress, and then like, I just got addicted to it. So that sports was kind of the thing that got me into the lifting. And then like, eventually I was just like, this is a super interesting tool for kind of self-improvement. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. What made you, so you gained this passion or, love for lifting. And like when I met you, it was very clear that you love training.
Yeah.
What made you decide that, hey, I want to become a personal trainer?
I think I've like always just enjoyed like talking to people, and like I would say that I'm a people person. So being able to interact with people, and then I also like enjoy teaching, like being able to like in a way teach people, coach people, always seemed appealing. And then I always like, my biggest thing was I really wanted to open my own gym. Like back then, that was like the end goal.
We had that talk.
Yeah, so that was like kind of seemed like a way for me to get experience in the industry. And I kind of always, I never really like thought like, oh, I'll do this forever, but it seemed like a very good like stepping stone to doing something bigger that I really wanted to do. But yeah, I would say it's like a combination of like wanting to work with people and then also do something in fitness.
Okay, cool. So let's say if there's maybe like a beginner or someone like an intermediate person that's watching this or listening to this podcast, what is like maybe some mistakes or that you've made in the past, or some advice that you could give someone to not maybe make the same mistakes that you've done
in regards to training?
Yeah, or training, fitness, getting started, anything.
In regards to training, I would say like it depends on the individual and what your goals are. But like for me, I didn't have a problem putting in the work when I was young. Like I would do that to a fault, like lift 6 or 7 days a week.
Too much.
But then just not do any not take recovery seriously. Like the main thing I would say is like sleep more, eat more.
Yep.
For most people, if
Yep.
you're trying to lose weight, eat more protein.
Yep.
But like literally, like it could boil down to like two things. If I were to tell my younger self, like especially me, because I was like a string bean, and like still until like the past year, I continuously forget like you need to eat a lot of calories to like put on muscle.
Those are a couple of the conversations I have with people the most. Is like,
Yeah.
it's like I love seeing you in here, but like you have to rest.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that people forget, and it and all of us are guilty no matter what the goal is. All right, it's like I want more weight, I want more muscle.
Yeah.
I want to lose weight. I want to get better in this technique or train for this sport. You have to schedule rest days.
Yeah.
It's one of the most important things that you can do. Basically, when we're in the gym, it doesn't matter if you're running, jumping, whatever, weightlifting. Like you're in some fashion breaking down and tearing down the muscle, in just a little bit, like micro tears. So outside of the gym, when you're eating, you're sleeping, doing active, recovery techniques like bike riding, walking, whatever, that's when your body's actually resting and encouraging healing, so you can either gain more muscle, lose weight, and then or recover for that sport. The eating, again, like that's another conversation I have with a lot of younger guys specifically, is like, and actually more so with their parents, because I have parents that call or come in here and like, oh, I need a mass gainer, I need this. It's like, no, like literally they just need good quality food. And really at that young of an age, like tracking isn't as important.
No.
I would say like then they're just thinking too deep into it. It's just eat as much as you can. And like I'll have kids who be like, oh, I eat so much. I'm like, how much are you eating? Like, oh, like eat breakfast. Sometimes I eat lunch at school if it's not gross. And then I eat supper, maybe a snack when I get home. It's like, eat more. Like, but I'm full. I'm like, doesn't matter, dude. Like, eat more. Like, you just like, you have to condition yourself to be able to eat.
Yeah.
And that's another common issue I've seen with people struggling with weight loss, is they feel like they have to starve themselves. Right. Or they have these coaches that will only put them on a 1,400 calorie diet. It's like, you're not eating enough.
Crashes your metabolism. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you're not, well, I'm not hungry. It's like, yeah, you're not. That's a signal from your body. You should always be a little bit hungry.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I would say, like, to your point, especially in, like, at the high school age, like, you can't eat enough.
No.
Like, especially if you're playing, like, in my situation, I was, like, playing sports, working out in the morning, and, like, you have these long, structured days, like, you need, like, so many more calories than you think. Like, especially if you were in my position, like, you're working out hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely like a big thing. And then, like, sleep is obviously, like, kind of a given, but I would say, like, beyond that, it's basically just, like, the relationship between volume and intensity. So, like, that's kind of a difficult concept for some people to grasp, but it's kind of like a inverted like graph of, like, you want to have a sweet spot of just enough volume to where your body's going to respond, and then, like, enough intensity to elicit that adaptation. So, if you are always going to failure, quote unquote, that you're not going to be able to maintain that for very long. So you kind of want to be a little bit methodical with how intense you're training, but also volume, the amount of work you're doing. That's the one that I think people can confuse more often. So, like, for example, a lot of times you'll see people who might not have, like, a ton of education in the field, and they will make these cookie cutter programs for people, and it's just a ton of volume. And it's because, like, if you can't
6 exercises, 5 sets.
Yeah, and the biggest thing there is, like, they're not giving you scale of intensity. Like, they're just saying, do this. Well, it's like, what's the RPE or RIR? What's the percentage? And they don't want to do that because it takes time to make that program. So instead, they just say, well, just do 12 sets of quads today. It's like, okay, first of all, like, you don't know what different people are going to respond to in amounts in terms of their volume thresholds. But second of all, like, you're doing that to compensate for a lack of precision on what intensity you're prescribing. So if you don't want to, like, do the math to calculate how hard you should go throughout a phase, you can just tell people, like, oh, do a bunch of stuff. And, like, yeah, you might get decent results because you're making people do, like, a ton of volume. But eventually, they're not going to be able to sustain that amount of volume, so their effort is going to drop, and then their results are going to drop, and then they're going to have joint pain, or they're going to have their central nervous system just wrecked if they are trying to push themselves that hard. Or injuries. So I would say, like, understanding, like, you always want to push yourself. If you're not training hard enough, like, your body's not going to be forced to change. But also, you want to be calculated with how much work you're doing. So understanding that relationship to someone who wants to get into the specifics of training and programming for themselves, which I think is valuable, I think is the first step. And then if you don't want to know about that stuff, you have someone make you a program, that's totally fine. Then all you have to worry about is, like, pushing yourself, and then your recovery, how much you're sleeping, how much you're eating.
Following direction.
Yeah.
I love that you touched base on that, because it's something, like, again, something I wish I would have known in the beginning, because I just ran myself into the dirt.
For sure.
Terrible form.
Same.
I would go sets and sets and sets and sets and sets until, like, I felt like I was completely exhausted and couldn't do anything more. And then basically I probably wasn't eating enough in the beginning, and then you're just, like, a week later you're still sore.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just digging yourself a hole that you can't climb out of.
Yeah.
And I kind of touch base on that on the podcast that's going to release on Wednesday of we have a good podcast on meal prep.
Yep.
And kind of discussing those that information. So no, that's awesome. Oh man, I had something I was going to ask and I forgot. So now some people,
like, we're in The Shining right now.
Dude, I'm sorry. I hope,
you're good. I'm just teasing you because you said right before the podcast.
I hope you're not gonna have an epileptic seizure. But,
yeah, I might.
So
suing the gym.
Now, I think a lot of people get volume. This is not a question I was originally going to ask, but I think a lot of people get volume and intensity confused, because I did for many years.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give my definition, because it's probably going to be a less professional definition. So if you want to do, like, quick, like, 30-second quick define like
Yeah.
the difference between volume and intensity.
Yeah, so to make it as simple as possible, I would say volume is just the amount of work you do. Our case, most people measure it by the number of sets you do. Okay, so typically everyone's going to have different volume thresholds, meaning how many sets they should do throughout the week. But research says anywhere from 10 to 20 sets per muscle group. I would start on the lower end of that, especially at the beginning of a macro cycle, your year plan. But then just test what works for you. Some people, they respond really well to high volume. Some people don't. And it's also going to be dependent upon the muscle group. Your quads, your back, those are really big muscles. So they take a little bit longer to recover. So you're not going to be able to do as much volume for them. But in my experience, that's been fine. If it's closer to that 10 number, I still get a lot of growth for me personally. But something like your shoulders, they fatigue fast, but they also recover fast because they're a very small muscle in size. They're more fast twitch in nature. So those things probably you can do more often throughout the week and do more sets. Maybe you're doing that 3 to 4 times a week. But typically everyone's going to have different volume thresholds. That's just the amount of sets or the amount of work you're doing throughout the week. And that should have a delicate balance, a delicate relationship with intensity, meaning how hard you're pushing yourself. How I like to look at it is how close to failure you are. So depending on if you're working in a strength or hypertrophy program, you should base your intensity scale on like percentages or on proximity to failure. So typically, like I would use proximity to failure for hypertrophy programs, and then percentages they can base or percentages. Strength programs can do either, but I typically see like I like to do percentages with a little bit of a range in them, and then maybe you can use RPE or RIR on your singles because it's a little bit more subjective how you're coming in there, how you're coming feeling a workout if you want to push some heavy weight. But that's getting a little bit more into the weeds. I would say for most people is just like how close to failure you are. And I've honestly changed my opinion on certain things when it comes to intensity scales. So for example, like I still believe like progressive overload is super important, especially for those compound lifts, your heavier barbell movements, especially the ones that you want to be particularly stronger at. For a lot of people, that's like bench, squat, deadlift.
The big three.
Yep. But where I've changed my opinion, especially in like the last year, is the proximity of failure for your accessories. So I used to think treat it exactly like you would treat your compounds. Which is like 3 reps from failure on week 1, and then like 2 to 3 reps the next week, and then 2 reps, and then so on and so forth. Which like for certain people that can work, but I think you can push it a little bit closer to failure on accessories right
I did
away.
this exact same thing.
Yeah,
Very, very recently.
Yeah. No, it's. I think you're probably going to be able to recover from those movements faster than you would your heavy compounds. So I think you can handle a little bit more intense volume straight off the bat in a program. So typically what I do now is if I'm running a hypertrophic program, whatever my RPE or RIR is for my compound lifts, I'll do like 1.5, maybe even 2 reps closer to failure on my accessory movements. So I'm not going to failure on every accessory right off the bat in a program, but I'll typically go like a couple reps closer to failure on my accessories than my compounds. And then like, depending on how I'm feeling physically, how my joints are feeling, a couple weeks into the program, I'll start taking a lot more things to failure. Just as of recently, I've kind of adopted that.
I feel like that comes with experience too.
Yeah. And that's where like it gets, a little wishy-washy because certain people, and this isn't like me saying like, oh, you don't know how to push yourself, but like certain people just don't know how close they are to failure.
Especially in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. And like it's, until you have a set where like, especially if you can work out with a partner and like there might be some like heavy metal playing and they're screaming at you like literally like gun to your head, can you do any more reps? Most people undershoot failure by like something like 5 reps. Yeah. So it's like I think you have to be within 4 reps for it to elicit adaptation. So like you're not even scratching the surface there. So I think most people need to understand that they have a lot more left in the tank than they think. Now, the caveat to that, in my opinion, is just making sure that your form's there. So you can go till technical failure on certain lifts.
Yes.
But especially if you're rocking with machines, like push it closer to failure.
Safer.
Push it closer to failure.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I feel like kind of backtracking a little bit. One of the things I'm going to take a quick break.
Oh, you're good.
Awesome. So I feel like one of the things that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to like those cookie cutter programs or whatever is a beginner can literally see results from just about anything at the beginning. And that's where a lot of us, myself included, are guilty about doing crazy high volume, like as I was like the story I told earlier. And then the more experienced and more mature you are, the more you get out of every set, every rep, every exercise, movement, whatever. And then actually the lower volume, you might actually transition into the later in your lifting career. Like for me, for example, like I was super high volume, and then like I did that for a long time, and then, you know, had some aches and pains and stuff and kind of backed it off. And then I trained with Torg during my early to mid competition years, and we were, I would say, more moderate volume.
Yeah.
And now I'm pretty darn low. Like, I don't know if you noticed when Seth and I were training out there, it's 1 to 2 sets. That's it.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like, you know, and some people argue with me. I feel like we might get some hate on this episode anyways, because talking about RAR and RPE, and because that's a hot topic now. It's like, oh, you need to train everything to failure, which I think is complete BS. It also depends on the person. It also depends on if you're enhanced or natural, and we're not going to go down that avenue.
Yeah.
For me anymore, I feel like I kind of teeter closer to that failure point, but not every single day, every single week. It's more of a periodization plan over like a 5-week basis. But like one to 2 sets per exercise for me right now is a sweet spot. I'm seeing significant improvement. I would say block over block, and in not only strength but size. And I feel like I'm able to connect and get so much more out of those exercises, and then move on to the next exercise and still feel fresh and ready to attack it with the same intensity I attacked the last movement. Versus doing like, you know, junk volume or whatever you want to call it, with like 3 to 5 sets. Not saying that's bad for anyone in particular, but for me it's like, you know, when I was doing, you know, 3 to 5 sets, you know, the first set was just like almost like getting a feel for it, still like almost like a warm up, and then I move on to the second set. The second set usually felt the best for me. And then the last 1 or 2 sets, like it was just like I'm over it and I'm ready to move on. And so now it's like 1 to 2 sets are like perfect, at least for me, and I feel like I'm able to hit it with higher intensity. You know, higher weight, heavier weight, and then you're able to move on and improve. So
well, and I think part of where you're going at there is like, you have been doing this for a while, so you also know how to auto-regulate. You know, like you went through phases of doing a ton of volume, and right now you can feel how your body's responding to these phases. And like in a perfect world, like you kind of want to get your volume down as low as possible, because like you said, you can give more effort to each set, and that's what like is talked about a lot in research, like minimum effective dose. And then like you can kind of go up from there, but like if you only need 2 to 3 sets to like really feel that, then like by all means like stick with that.
I also feel like I can do more exercises and then target the muscle fully and completely. Like I'm methodical with my programming, or with our programming, where if I'm having like a back day, I want to hit every aspect of the back. A chest day, I want to try to hit, you know, I want to do a fly motion to get that stretch. I want to do a pressing movement. I want to do an incline movement. I don't do decline, and I just don't waste my time on that. So I think decline can be great. It has a time and place but for me, like I've got a decent hang, a decent lower pec, so I don't have to.
Decent hang.
Ask my wife about that. So, anyways, no, that is awesome. So I that's so cool. So, I've got like 2 more questions for you, and then I think we'll try to wrap it up. So I want maybe some hot takes, methodologies from you. I'll kind of let you go with it. Like maybe some hot takes on like your methodologies, maybe like more of a controversial, like unpopular opinion or belief that you might have that might kind of go against the grain. But I want you to argue whatever point that is.
Hot takes. Well, I'll say this one because you were just talking about how you want to get to more exercises. Lately, I've been a big fan of doing as few exercises as possible. And when I say that, I still want to hit the respective muscles. So like I will do multiple back exercises to hit different parts of the back. But in my opinion, I really like to do, if I'm connecting with an exercise, then I want to stay with that exercise for longer versus, like you said, maybe it takes 2 sets for you to feel an exercise. And then if you're only doing 3, you're like, oh, well, I got like 1, maybe 2 quality sets in there. And then I'm going to go to a new exercise and then I kind of have to feel that one out and then start over versus like picking one exercise, especially for specific muscles. This isn't for all muscles, but picking one exercise and then instead of doing 2 exercises with 4 sets of each, you do 1 exercise with 6 or 7 sets.
Okay.
And so I've recently changed to a little bit of that, but I think it also depends on the muscle. Like if you're talking about the back, there's so many different muscles and there's so many different angles that like it does make sense to do 2, maybe even 3 exercises.
Does that, not to cut you off,
no,
do you think
good.
That is dependent on what your goal dependent as well? Like
for sure.
If you're training more for strength, hypertrophy,
for sure,
sport specific.
Yeah, for sure. I would say, but even like honestly, like well, sport specific gets a little different. But like if you're training for strength, like if you're super far out from like a competition or something, like you can really mix it up. But like the closer and closer you get to the competition, the more you want to push specific strength for an exercise. Like just do that exercise.
Yeah.
Like you want to get good at bench, just bench. Yep. And like you can obviously do like close grip and mix it up like with like slight variations like that. But like if I were to look back at and see the times where I got really strong at certain lifts, it's I'm doing that lift like multiple times a week. Like if you want to get really good at bench press and you're benching 1 time a week and then doing like dumbbell press another time a week, like you're leaving a lot on the table. Yep. Versus like if you want to get really good at bench press, bench 3 times a week. Like see how your bench is doing then. So that's what I would say.
That actually circles me back to another question I kind of had. So you were talking about the larger muscle groups, the back and legs. When you're training them, you might be able to get away with training them once a week versus smaller muscle groups and training like shoulders like multiple times a week.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that when you do a muscle group multiple times a week, are you going to still try to hit 10 sets 3 days a week, or are you going to try to do lesser sets those 3 days to culminate like a certain specific volume goal?
I'll do less sets spread out across more days, especially for those smaller muscle groups because I can give more effort to them. However, it's a delicate balance because depending on the muscle group, like I still have to adjust that throughout a program based on how I'm feeling. Because like shoulders was the first one where I'm just like my side delts are just not growing. Like I cannot figure this out, and so I'm like I'm just gonna train them 4 days a week and just hammer them. And like it helped a little bit, but then you also have to watch out for you start to have overlapping soreness. So you're like, okay, maybe I can drop down to 3 days a week and spread it out a little bit more. And then, maybe I can do 1 extra set, or maybe I don't even need that. If you're getting sore from something, just like don't start adding sets. Yeah. Like that's good.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, like going back when you said minimum effective dose, there's something to be said about like doing too much can not only dig you a hole like on muscle soreness and recovery, but it could also negatively impact joints as well.
For sure.
Like for me, you're
good.
For me, like having a genetic disorder that actually attacks my joints.
Yeah.
I've noticed my joints feel, and not to argue against you, but to argue my point more with the low volume, lesser, exercises and stuff like that. I notice way less joint pain and soreness and discomfort, and more stability when I've been able to do less volume.
Yeah.
And when I'm saying more exercises, I don't mean like doing 10 exercises a workout.
Right.
I'm doing like 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's not crazy.
But I'm also trying to train each muscle group like twice a week.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say a good tip too that I've also started incorporating more, like I kind of used to like shake my head at this technique, but like feeler sets I think are like super effective because, like you said, a lot of times it's 2 sets in before you start feeling it.
Yep.
But like you also don't want to exhaust yourself because, contrary to like what people think with like pyramids, like, oh, increase the weight as I go. Like, no, you're strongest during your first set.
Yeah.
So like you probably want to push the most amount of weight then. But a good way to solve that is you give yourself one light feeler set, and it can be like 20 plus reps.
Yeah.
Just some light weight. Then like you actually connect with the muscle when you go to do the exercise. Obviously that's dependent upon what your goals are. If your goals are strength, like you got to be careful with that because you want to mitigate any potential fatigue leading up to a heavy set. But like I really like feeler sets, especially for hypertrophy.
This is how I do my feeler, feeder, warm-up sets, whatever you want to call them. Maximum of 3 to 5 reps.
Okay.
That's it. Except for if it's like a movement where I'm like kind of sore, I feel tight. For this morning, like we trained a little bit earlier than like what we do. Like we train our normal Saturday time, but it's a little bit earlier than normal. So I still kind of like working the kinks out. I'm getting old.
Yeah.
So like we started with chest flies. So I think my first set of chest flies I did like 7 reps. But I'm really big on don't waste your strength and your energy on those feeder sets. So I want to do 3 to 5 sets. So like my first feeder, I'd usually do 2 to 3 feeder sets or warm-up sets in the beginning, and then sometimes I might just run right into it if I feel nice and warmed up. Or other times I might just do 1.
Are those all at different weights?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I pyramid up.
Yep. So
like my first set, like I might do 115 pound chest flies on the machine, not dumbbells.
Yeah.
Terrapec. But so I did like I'll do like 5 reps and really focus and connect and squeeze, and then I might jump up significantly and then do 3 reps, and then it's like okay, I'm ready to go in. And
I like
I'll just
that.
go right in.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's like I don't want to waste any. I don't want to gain any fatigue on those feeder sets or warm up sets. It's just basically priming your muscle in your body. This is my uneducated talk. But like I use it as a way to prime my body for the actual work and the load that I'm.
I would say that's pretty similar to my warm up, like when I'm training for strength. Is like I'll see people that like even 300-pound benchers that are doing like 10 reps at 135 and then like 8 reps at 185 and then like 5 reps at 225 to like work up to like a mid 200. Yeah, and it's like it's not the worst thing in the world, but like you're wasting a ton of energy. Now I do like maybe 5 if I'm like working up to like mid 200s bench press for reps. Like I'll do like I might do 8 reps with 135, but typically it's something like 5 or 6, and then I don't go above 5. Like 185 I'll do like 4 or 5 reps. 225 I'll do like 2 or 3 reps. Like sometimes I'll just even do a single if I know like I have it, because like you said, like you don't want to waste energy getting up to that.
Definitely. All right, so probably the question that people are wondering and what we've kind of alluded to, just to kind of finish it up. What brought you back to Iowa?
Yeah, so I was kind of looking for something different in terms of work. Like I said, I knew I wasn't going to be personal training forever, and
we've got a parent with a young child here, and the dogs are very, very excited right now.
You gotta love
sorry
it.
about the back.
But yeah, no, I was just looking for something a little bit different, and I had always kind of thought like opening my own gym was kind of the route I wanted to take. Well, I kind of started feeling less and less like that's what I wanted to do. So I started
probably working in a couple of gyms made you change your mind really quick.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, like working here, I was like, yeah, I still want to do this because I saw kind of the example of Iowa Strength and what you've done with it. Like working at like a corporate gym or corporate like a private studio gym in like a major city. I was kind of turned off by a couple things that like wasn't really how I would want to do business, and like I just want to help people. Like obviously you got to make money, but like there's more important things, and there's a way to do it. But I was also just kind of less passionate about the idea anyways, and the fitness space. While I still love it, and especially want to pursue my own personal goals, and I was just kind of looking for something different. And so I've been thinking about it for a long time, kind of exploring other like career opportunities. There was a few other things that I did and looked at and whatnot, but I'd always kind of had the idea of being interested in flying as a pilot for like a while, but it kind of seemed a little unattainable, just because I had no idea. You don't really get any education on that. I didn't know anybody really that flew, but I do have a couple family friends that fly, and so I reached out to them one day when I was just like, I need to make a change here. This isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life, and talking to them was extremely encouraging, kind of getting a path of how you would even go about getting your pilot's license. So kind of started looking into it more, doing more research, like I said, talked to a few more people, and then I did a discovery flight, which is like kind of the first thing they recommend that you do. But they basically take you up there and give you the controls for a little bit, explain things, and because that
take into a tailspin.
Yeah, just absolutely roll and dive bomb and all that. So, but no, they it's I always found it as like an appealing job, especially like you get to travel, you get to meet a lot of cool people. But obviously it's very different being up there, and it's a big responsibility. So I was like, why don't I do this before I like know what I'm getting into? So, but I went and did it and loved it, and so I was just like, okay, this is something like I definitely want to like look more into, because I've never been the type of person to be like, oh, I'm gonna like settle for doing a job that I don't enjoy. Like that's, I would say like even personal training is a little maybe unconventional compared to like what typically people do for work. But like I never cared, because I was just like, there's no way I could sit in an office or any job for that matter. And
I don't
like,
recommend it.
Yeah, well, just like just a job that you don't enjoy. Like I mean, just to pay the bills, I could never do that. So I slept on it for like a long time because it's a big decision. But I am and was extremely excited about it, and I haven't felt that way in a while. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. So when I was looking at schools and costs of flight schools and training and everything, it just made more sense to come back home. Schools are like way cheaper here. Also on top of that, like cost of living. So it's good to be back home. I still like miss Colorado. Like I wouldn't be opposed to living in a major city again, but like it's very good to be back, and it's just what makes sense like financially. But yeah, I'm really excited. I've been going through ground school lately, so that's just online, like studying, kind of like getting familiar with the aircraft and with how procedures work and weather and aerodynamics and all that stuff. So I'm kind of learning all that right now, which satisfies one of my requirements for my license. And then I'm on a wait list for a school. And then also kind of looking into some other schools. I haven't made my final decision on that, but yeah, I'm doing the school online right now, and then I'll start training probably within the next like month or two, I would say.
Awesome.
So yeah, big change, but I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, when you kind of leaked that information to me a couple months ago, the last time you were here, and I was able to keep it zipped.
Yeah.
And that was probably the reason why you didn't want to get on the podcast that early on.
Yeah.
Which I definitely understand.
Yeah.
And respect. Dude, I was so excited for you, because when you said pilot, I'm like, that is the perfect job. Like whenever like I've had conversations about you when you're not around, one of the things I always bring up is how adventurous of a person you are. Besides like your humbleness and your humility and how and I'm not sucking up to you, I generally mean this, but like the kind of, you are such an adventurous and like I would say like wanderlust kind of person. Like you're an old soul. Like and you know, like kind of like you saying you love reading old books, and you know, you listen the kind of music you listen to is just a little bit different than what most people do, and you're just you're that kind of person, like you're very social, you love wandering, you love exploring and meeting new people and doing all this stuff, and it's just like I'm so incredibly like I'm proud of you just to see how much you've grown, but I'm excited for you as well of just like, you know, this new next step. And I think you're always doing things a lot of other people I think are probably scared to do. And you know, people get comfortable, they settle.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're leading that example of, you know, why settle? Like you're young, man. Like you still got so much time and to figure it out. But yeah, I think this is an awesome move for you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, man. That means a lot. It was, like I said, it was a long time coming. It was a big decision. Yeah, I've always found it interesting. And, you know, it's insane to me. Like at 18, you're supposed to kind of decide what you want to do for the rest of your life because interests change, people change. But since like that time period, you know, I didn't travel hardly at all as a kid. Like we went on like maybe 2 vacations growing up, so it was like I had not been out of Iowa very many times. But then I kind of like had a desire for that as soon as I got into college, took a lot of trips, and I would just always think it's interesting to meet new people and discover new cultures, go to different places. Like that's always been fascinating to me. So this is like a really good way to do that. And then like I kind of got super interested in like how air travel works as well. Like that's what's especially good right now as I'm learning about all that, and it's like genuinely interesting to me because it's like a completely different world. So it's I think it's going to be like a really good fit, but it's obviously a lot of work, so it'll be head down, nose to the grindstone for the next quite a while. So that'll be kind of the goal, and I'm working right now to like pay my way through school and whatnot. So it's tiring. I have a lot of like personal goals outside of it. So like, you know, there's a million things going on, but like that's good. That's what you want. So I think one more thing. Like I think like fear is a good compass sometimes, because a lot of times like people kind of have a rough idea of what they'd like to do, but they're afraid for whatever reason, whether or not like they're scared it won't work out or they're scared of what people would think. But I think that's a compass, like telling you like what you should go to, not to be like super philosophical, but like I think like there's a reason that's in the back of your brain.
20 years from now or 50 years from now when we're dead and gone, hopefully not 20 years, no one's going to frickin' remember what we did for an occupation. No one's going to remember us. Our impact on this world is very, very insignificant in the grand scheme of things. So it's just like, take advantage of the time that we have, and do what you enjoy and try to help and uplift others in the process. And that's what it's all about.
Hell yeah.
So I hope that the AI of Riverside cuts your piece out, that last piece, because that was just like a hard hit, man. That gave me goosebumps. Random. Do you have that flight tracker app on your phone that you can go and like see like all the major like air travel?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, there's an app. I don't know where I think I saw it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I got it on my phone. It's like flight